Hey folks, I'm Rupali, your host, and welcome back to Crime Hack. So far, we have seen that Aakash was beaten up for supposedly proposing to Priya, while Raj and Sandy were ambushed for talking to her. When Priya comes to know that people are getting beaten up or threatened in her name, she decides to find the culprit. At the site where Aakash was attacked, she finds a gold ring and realizes it belongs to a guy in her locality. She tells Sandy that she will point out the guy to him the next day, but she vanishes without a trace. When Sandy goes to find out what happened to her, he gets ambushed again. Luckily, he manages to escape but realizes that they need a makeup kit of sorts because the bad guys know their faces and the boys don't know who is attacking them. That night, the boys go for a night ride with friends and spy a man installing security cameras in the heart of the city. They find it peculiar and decide to investigate. And now, Nayak Brothers and the Mystery of the Catacombish Tunnels by Rupali Rajapadhe Roti, Part 24. Slowly and stealthily, Raj approached the spot by retracing his steps, while Sandy was to go around the bend, down a parallel road, and approach from the opposite direction. Keeping himself in the shadows all the time, Raj took on his position at a safe distance to watch the man at work. The man was almost done with putting up the security camera on that spot, and soon he climbed down over a drainage pipe. He could have taken the stairs if he was on the up and up, Raj thought suspiciously. The man cast a furtive glance to both sides, and Raj flattened himself against the wall in the shadows. Sensing the coast was clear, the man walked a distance and started climbing up another building, again on a drainage pipe. Most of the buildings in the Pate area are old, ancient even, so the climb up was rickety. But still, the man stuck to his plan of not taking the stairs. At one point in time, the man almost lost his footing, and Raj made a maneuver to catch him, but restrained himself in time. God, why is this man taking such a risk? Raj thought to himself. And where the hell is Sandy? He was getting worried about his brother. Moreover, Sandy had lost his mobile that day, and there was no way of contacting him. We are so dumb. At least I should have thought about it and got him a mobile off the other three friends who were waiting for just one message from us. But now there was no turning back, and there was no way of contacting him either. Raj decided that there was no point in coming out of his hiding place and looking for Sandy. He would do that later on. So he stuck to his place and watched. The man put on another camera in a place that was not easily detectable and started to climb down. Suddenly, Raj heard some noise nearby and almost jumped with surprise. So did the man halfway down the rickety pipe. Raj was concentrating so hard on this man's actions that he didn't notice another person approaching him from the other side. With his heart suddenly in his mouth, Raj wondered whether the man who had made the noise was Sandy because he was supposed to come from that side. The man now stood almost below the other one climbing down the building and called in a hushed tone, "Sorry." Both the men looked around stealthily, and the one who was putting up the camera soon jumped beside the other man. They didn't talk, just showed a thumbs up to each other, nodded, and then started walking. Raj wanted to follow them as planned, but Sandy was missing, so he couldn't decide what to do next and stood thinking. When suddenly he spied a movement in the shadows and found Sandy waving his hands to draw his attention. He seemed to have been following the second guy, whom he must have spied on his way here. He was motioning to Raj to send the message And so he did, as was planned earlier. Their quarry had mounted a bike which was parked at a distance, and the two were already on the move when the three bikes arrived to fetch the Nayak brothers. Raj flailed his hands urgently, indicating to the boys to hurry up, and then pointed to where Sandy was hiding. Soon Ajay and Raj went after the duo on Raj's bike. Sandy was picked up by Dev, and Sachin was riding the third bike. As decided, using the mobiles as walkie talkies for coordination, one by one, the boys followed the two men out of the Pate area and into a newly developing locality. A lot of buildings here were under construction, and their carcasses stood silhouetted against the night sky, giving them a creepy look. The duo stopped in front of a standalone house nestled between two buildings that were still under construction. It was a tiny, grubby looking place, and if the men hadn't stopped there, the boys would never even have noticed it. The boys stopped a few blocks from the house to watch while the two men went inside. The light was switched on, and the boys waited patiently. More than half an hour passed, and the Nayak brothers noted unease amongst their friends. "Now what are we going to do?" Sachin asked in a sort of a complaining tone. "Why don't you guys go home and rest, and we will meet up tomorrow at noon in Kathraj?" Sandy proposed. "What about you guys?" "Guess we will stick around for a while longer." Detective work is a bit boring, don't you think?" Sandy smiled. "Sometimes it really is." The new timing of the rendezvous thus decided, immediately it was conveyed through messages to those who were expected to come trekking the next day. The friends then dispersed while the Nayak brothers stayed put. "What's the plan?" Sandy asked, and Raj exploded. "What a nice pair of dumb detectives we are. We should have approached the house as soon as those two men went inside. We should have tried to see what's going on inside and tried to hear if we could. Instead, we wasted time here waiting for them as if they were going to come up to us and hand us the clues to their identities and tell us what they were up to." Sandy scratched his forehead, clearly displeased with himself. Then calming down, Raj muttered, "Let's go. Better late than never." Once near the house, Sandy whispered, "You take this side, I will take the other." The house had a petty low fence and only dirt for a garden. Only one light was switched on in the entire house, and Raj was to watch over that side. Stealthily and silently, he rushed forward and flattened himself against the wall. A few men talking in hushed tones could now be heard through the open window. In order to catch a few words, Raj crouched low and slid near the window. But just then the lights went off, and he heard the men departing, mumbling goodnights to each other. "Damn," he thought, "why did we waste our time waiting there?" Nevertheless, he decided to sneak a peek. But as soon as he started to raise himself, the window snapped shut and he jumped with fright. Was there a man who had shut the window, or was it the wind? There was no time to think, and he scrambled out of there in a jiffy. Unfortunately, the man who had closed the window had heard the shuffling sound and became wary. Opening it again, he peered through the darkness, but Raj was already out of sight. He had jumped over the small fence and into the deep trench dug around the building under construction next door. What a save! Raj mopped his brow. But the man didn't stop at that. He rushed out the front door and nearly spotted Sandy, who was rounding the corner from the other side of the house. Sandy skipped a beat when he saw the man storming out the door just a few inches from him. He stood rooted to the spot, forgetting to even breathe for a second. But the man didn't look in his direction. He made a beeline to the fence on the other side where Raj had disappeared. Raj was all ears for the slightest of the movements, and as soon as he heard the door opening, he rushed through the trench, rounded the corner, and scuttled like a rat to the other side of the building under construction before breathing again. As soon as Sandy found his chance, he also hurried away in the opposite direction. The man searched futilely the dark recesses around the house, then scratched his neck, shrugged his shoulders, and went back inside. The Nayak brothers were gone in a flash. Finally, after a few tense moments, the brothers met again near their bike. "What happened?" Sandy came up puffing. "I almost got caught," replied Raj, a bit embarrassed. "Me too." Then slowly they started giggling, looking at each other's frenzied faces. So friends, if you like the story so far, please subscribe, click the bell icon, support the channel, and don't forget to share. You can also challenge us to watch and review your favorite movie, book, or TV show and support us on Patreon so we could shout out your name in the review too. To submit your challenge, please go to patreon.com/IICrimeHackII. I publish a new episode every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with bonus content on other days. So please keep a lookout. Until next time, keep safe. Namaste.